So, good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Morris. I am the Business Development Manager for Board Games for GTS Distribution. We are here with another one of our publisher to retailer webinars. Today, we are with Pandasaurus Games, as you see on your screen here, one of the funnest logos in the gaming industry. We are joined by Hunter Shelburne, who is actually brand new employee to Pandasaurus Games. He just started as their Marketing and Communications Manager. Otherwise known as Lord of the Realm. But Hunter has been in the industry for quite some time, most recently with Steve Jackson Games. So he has a good amount of experience that he brings to the table, pardon the pun. We're going to talk about two very specific games today, and then also give a quick update on some of the other more popular things that are going on inside of Pandasaurus as well. We're going to talk about Illusion, which is a very small card game, which is a very cool kind of color shape kind of based thing. And then we're going to talk about Nyctophobia, which if you haven't seen Nyctophobia, it would make sense because it's a game you play in the dark or blind, so to speak. It's a really, really cool game, and I think we're going to get some good information and good discussion going about both of these games today. Just to make sure everyone is in the know or understands the scope of the webinar here, anyone who is attending live right now is eligible for a free copy of Illusion. With an accompanying purchase from GTS over the next week between the 5th and the 12th. This is being recorded on November 5th. Can't believe it's November already. The year is just flying by. And anyone who places an order, whether you are watching this live or whether you place an order between now and the 12th over the course of the next week, you can also get 52% off MSRP on the games as well, so a little bit better value. Just to let everybody know, Nyctophobia has been released already, but it is out of stock, and we are awaiting a second printing from them, from Pandasaurus. That is going to be happening literally within the matter of the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to land here by Black Friday, hopefully. So while we are technically taking pre-orders, it has been released, and it's just a pre-order for a second printing. So with that, I'm going to shut up and take my face that was made for radio and get out of here and let Hunter start to take over and talk about everything. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them into the chat. I'm going to go ahead and moderate the chat here. If we have anything that pops up, I will let Hunter know. We can kind of take them as they come up, but feel free to ask any questions you have about any of the products we're talking about or any of the other things going on with Pandasaurus as well. With that, ladies and gentlemen, Hunter Shelburne.
Hi, everyone. As Scott said, I'm Hunter. I'm here to talk about some of our new stuff coming up. We're really excited about. Let me pull up my doc here. I just wanted everyone to see my smiling face. And then, there we go. Got to click through that. There we go. Skip that. There we go. Oops, skip too far. There we go. Okay, great. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Illusion. So this is, as you know, we've tried to kind of expand into these smaller card games. We did the game. We've done Wolfgang Warsch's The Mind. That is the Spiel nominee. It's done really well for us. But Illusion has done kind of secretly really well for us. We're really excited about it. Illusion is Wolfgang Warsch's follow-up to The Mind. This is a small card game in that same price point, $14.95. Two to four players. Actually, I believe it's two to five players. My doc here is a little bit messed up. Sorry about that. But this game is very, very deceptively simple, and it's an extremely easy demo. This is effectively like Cardline or Timeline with a different twist to it. So instead of matching up dates or stats on a card that you can kind of memorize eventually, what you're doing is you're flipping cards that have different colors on them, and you're having to determine if it has more or less of a certain color than the previous cards. So in the case of the example on doc here, it's you're using the color red, and they're trying to determine which cards have less or more red, and you kind of fit them into the card line wherever it belongs. So you already have a frame of reference. Cardline and Timeline have been extremely popular sellers for their respective companies, and this kind of builds on that. The catch is it's a little bit more replayable in the fact that you don't have the same colors popping up on every card. There's a lot of different cards. There's 4 different colors per card, so you're not having to once someone's memorized when the wheel was invented, they can't do that with this card because it might be coming up on a different color. It may be coming up in a different scenario. It's hard to remember 98 different times 4 percentages of colors. So it's very simple in that regard. It's done really well for us as far as reorders have gone, and it's also got a lot of heat. Recently, we went to Shucks, the Shut Up and Sit Down convention. They really dug it there. So they've mentioned on the podcast a few times. We've had a lot of reviewers starting to pick it up now. It's kind of built up steam. It started off a little bit lower, and then it's built up steam with reorders, with reviewers picking up on it, with people just enjoying this game a lot. So we're really excited about that going, especially in the holiday season when we're getting into stocking stuffer time. This is one we're definitely going to be pushing a lot more. As a matter of fact, with the Mind, we're going to be getting a restock of the Mind by Christmas. We'll have Illusion, and we also have Quinto. It's not one we're featuring in this video, but it's another in that same small box size, $14.95 price point of ours. And we're going to be doing a bundle for retailers. It's going to be a stocking stuffer bundle of 3 copies of Illusion, 3 copies of Quinto, and 4 copies of the Mind for 10% additional off the top. So that's another thing to look out for when we get the. That'll be when the Mind restock comes in. That's coming around hopefully around the same time as Nyctophobia, maybe a little bit later, but definitely before Christmas on that one. So keep an eye out for that. But Illusion it's very straightforward. It takes literally 5 to 10 minutes to teach and play through a few rounds of it to learn the game. It's very, very simple. And it looks good on a table when you actually lay out a demo of it. People are intrigued by the colors of the cards, and every card looks a little bit different. So it's just very eye catching when people look at it. Wolfgang Warsch also is a huge selling point for us on this one because the Mind has been such a big hit that Illusion, just mentioning the fact that he's doing this game, and we try to focus on the fact that it's messing with your mind in a certain way. The whole point of the name Illusion and the concept of the game is that when you look at these cards, it's really hard to tell which colors are more, which colors are less, and your mind starts to fill in the empty spaces because a lot of the cards have a lot of white negative space on them. And when you look at the card itself, you're trying to fill in that empty space, or when colors are overlapped, it'll start to fill in that empty space. So it's deceptively tricky as well. But yeah, that is Illusion, and that is going to be a big one for our holiday season. Hopefully, like I said, the reorders have been really good for it, and we're really jazzed about how it's been doing recently. Oh, sorry, we got a question here. Oh, that's awesome. Or do we have a question? Sorry, that was another window pop up. Sorry, distract me.
Well, we do have a question, actually. Kyle has asked, I see Illusion is out of stock at GTS. Is that restocking at the same time as the Mind? I believe the answer to that was yes from what you had just said. There are some warehouses that may be more remote warehouses that are out of stock. Kyle, if you want to send me an email, it's smorris, M-O-R-R-I-S, at gtsdistribution.com. Can make sure to help get you set up with that. It should be in stock, though, at the major hub warehouses. We just may have a spoke or 2 warehouses that may have low stock or may need to have stock transfer, but we can help you get that taken care of.
Yeah, like Scott said, we should be able to get that in stock for you now. Were there any other questions? Because I was just rambling there for a second. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. There was no other question. Kyle said it does show 0 across the board. That should not be the case, or Kylie. Sorry, I keep saying Kyle. It's Kylie. It should not be 0. That may be something wrong with the website this morning. So we'll have to take a look at that, but should be available. So we should be able to get that taken care of for you.
Great. Some of the feedback I did want to give with you guys, especially for the fact that we're doing Quinto, Illusion, the Mind, things in this kind of small box, and it's a box that we're continuing to kind of move forward with in the future, was some different types of pop displays, things like that. If that's something that retailers might be interested in the future for things like this, it's not something we've done a lot in the past, but I'd love to start testing out some certain things like pop displays, some more displays for our some of our evergreen titles like Machi, Koro, and things like that once we get restocks of those and new editions of those coming out. So if you guys have any feedback for us on that, I'd love that as well, because we don't plan on slowing down on these small box games. Pandasaurus is kind of like the big flavorful meteor games like Dinosaur Island and Wasteland Express Delivery Service, as well as some of the medium box games like Machi, Koro. But we've really had a great success with the Mind and this small box line of games, so we're trying to continue that. We're going to have some more roll and write type games, some more smaller card games, and it's going to keep going. So look, anything we could do to help you guys sell these games, we'd like to do. Like I said, the bundles coming out, things like that. So whatever tips you guys have or whatever things you're looking to do in your stores, please let me know. I'll get my contact information out there too. It's hunter@pandasaurusgames.com if you don't want to give it in this chat for some reason.
One thing that I would like to point out, Hunter, I have in my game group, we have a couple of people who are colorblind. Yes. And this game was no problem for them at all because of the colors that were chosen and the shades of the colors that were chosen specifically, which was really nice to see. Because when we first brought this game out and put it on the table, one person was immediately like, I don't think I can play this because I'm colorblind. And we took the cards out, and they were immediately like, nope, yep, I can play this. So
yeah, there are definitely. I know there's like maybe one form of color blindness that has a problem with this type, but generally everyone I've played with at a convention so far, if they have some form of color blindness, they've been able to get through just based on the colors chosen. Like you said, the shades are pretty much there. So if that question does come up, that's a very good point. It seems to be mostly colorblind safe. I haven't encountered anyone with any particular color blindness that has been affected by the colors chosen there yet, but it could be out there. Just not yet so far.
Jason Engel just made a comment. He said, I hosted a board game area at a local game con this past weekend, and the Mind and Illusion were the most popular things I brought. Sold out of all my copies and had people looking for more already. So that's good.
That's amazing to hear. Thank you very much for doing that. Illusion. One thing I will say as far as Illusion goes is, especially with demoing this game, people, it looks good on a shelf, but it just has the question mark, so people don't necessarily know what they're looking at all the time. If they play it once, they almost immediately buy it. We had super good turnover rate at conventions, at local stuff, but like at the conventions we've been attending and things, with people demoing this and just immediately wanting to buy it. So it's a very good demo, and it's because it's so quick, it's so easy to explain, and a lot of people have played Timeline or heard of Timeline, so that's a good frame of reference. I don't normally like to promote our game is like X game, but the game is so similar, but has such a good twist on it that it's so easy to draw that comparison. I think it's a great selling point for it.
Awesome. That's all the questions that we had. There was a comment from Deb, just so you know, small displays are always wanted. So
great.
You do have that plan for Pandasaurus. That does seem to be a very popular thing.
Great. That's perfect. I definitely wanted to know that. I've been looking at different options. Nothing's set in stone yet. Like having a Machi display would be nice, but I kind of want maybe starting small with it, see if we could do a table, like a countertop or something like that. Just some options. We're looking at different ways to make the game stand out for retailers and make sure that we're doing what we can on our side to help promote sales for you guys. So that's important for us. So I think we'll move on from Illusion here. I just want to make sure it should be in stock. We should be able to get this to you now. If not, we should be getting a restock. And then the Mind coming out. Did want to reiterate that bundle that's coming out, the Stocking Stuffer bundle, with the Mind, this, and Quinto. Quinto, again, not part of this talk really, but Quinto has been doing really well for us as well. So if you're not stocking that one, definitely check that bundle out when it comes out. 10% off on that.
Yeah, and just again, if anyone uses one of the warehouses for GTS that is one of our smaller warehouses, maybe like Michigan or Arizona or anything like that, if you're running into any stock issues, feel free to shoot us a note, let us know. Again, my email is smorris@gtsdistribution.com. Be happy to help out, make sure we get that taken care of for you. Just so everyone does know, we do have a reorder on stock with Pandasaurus as well for more copies of Illusion coming in, because it's obviously such a good thing to have for the holidays, being a low price point, easy to teach, and very, very eye-catching. Kim Miller did ask, is there an age range on the game?
Yes, I believe that we put it 8+. Yeah, this one's 8+. Honestly, it takes no reading. The only text is numbers on the back of the card. If you guys can see me on here, I'll just pull up one of these cards here. Sorry about the shaking camera. I have a cat alert. So is that right? Yeah. The percentages on this side are the only text really on the cards. The game is super easy to teach, so maybe reading the rules, they'd need someone to read the rules for them, but once you explain it to them, that's all they have to know is numbers really, and which numbers are higher. So very, very straightforward, definitely a kid's game. I think the 8+ is just the safety testing for it. So.
Yeah, Jamie just said the game can be demoed in about 30 seconds, and everyone I've taught it to has gone on to buy a copy. So that's
great. Yeah, that's perfect. That's the same experience that we've had with it. Illusion has been such a good demo game for us. It's very, again, it's Wolfgang War, so it's understandable, but it's very the Mind-esque. So it's got that ability to demo, and then they immediately are like, oh, I get that now, and it clicks in their mind, and they want to get it.
That aha moment, so to speak.
Exactly. The aha moment. That's a great way of putting it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's.
Jason just said a family with a 5 and 8-year-old played it and brought it for me this weekend, so age is not too much of an issue. So kind of confirms what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty much however early you want them to look at colors and numbers at this point. Nothing adult, no heavy text or anything like that, for sure.
Well, and to be fair too, I think the majority of ages on the games are really more towards the componentry of the games than the complexity of the games.
Exactly.
That's a longer story for a taller beer that we could spend an entire webinar talking about if we wanted to. So.
We might have to.
Awesome.
All right.
If anyone does have any additional questions about Illusion, feel free to pop them into the chat, and we can always hop onto them if we need to. But
absolutely,
if you want to move on to the next thing, so to speak. Sure. I'm gonna die laughing if you actually cover up your screen to show this, because it would be pretty funny. But
I would, but I actually brought these instead.
Nice. There you go.
So the next up is, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to screw something up. I'll put them on my head. Next up is Nyctophobia. So Nyctophobia, I'll bring up the doc here in a sec. But Nyctophobia, oh God, this is a mistake. I'm going to take these off for a second and share my deck. Let me try that again. Okay. Oops, didn't share the right thing. Stop sharing. Let me try it again. There it is. Great. Okay.
It's just like Nyctophobia, black screen. No.
Exactly. Well, sorry. Let me screen share.
Okay. This is why you make board games and not slide presentations.
Right. Right. Apparently. I'll pull back up here in a second. I gotta go to slideshow mode.
I'll give you a bit of a lead in on this as you're pulling that up. So the number one thing I've heard from retailers about Nyctophobia is looks really cool, sounds really neat. I think it's a gimmick. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's much more than what it sounds like at first glance, so to speak. So I'll let Hunter go ahead and talk more about it. But this was one of the most fun games I have personally played all year, and easily one of the most original. So
awesome. Well, thank you for that, Scott. So Nyctophobia. So Nyctophobia has been one of our kind of breakout hits the second half of this year. We've had a huge response. Like Scott mentioned, it is sold out at the warehouses. We do have a reorder coming in. That was a little bit delayed by the factory, but it should be hitting literally, again, like Scott said, very, very shortly. So the pre-orders for that are really just kind of ordering for the next couple of weeks. So Nyctophobia's had an amazing response. If you don't know the backstory behind it, I feel like the backstory for games doesn't normally come up very often, but for this one, it's pretty important to me because the game was invented by Catherine Stipple. She's a very young designer. It's her first design ever. She's super bright, biology student. She's very, very good at what she does. And she really wanted a game to play with her uncle who is blind. So she made Nyctophobia, which is fear of the dark, if you don't know what that means. And it's got these 3D tree components, and you have 3D player markers, and you play it with those glasses I just showed you a second ago. Those are blackout glasses. So it's a 3 to 5 player game. 2 to 4 players are going to be playing as the hunted. These are going to be people that are being hunted down by a serial killer or a witch or whatever horror trope you want to call them, essentially. And you're being hunted through a forest you cannot see. These are blackout glasses. And the other player is the hunter. He could be either an axe murderer, could be like a Blair Witch style mage, and they're hunting you through, but they can see. That's the catch. So this is an experiential game. You'll hear that word tossed around a lot in the marketing for this game. But what that means in layman terms and what that means to your customers would be, if people like games like Dungeons and Dragons, if they like games where there's like a GM or like a werewolfy type experience where one person kind of knows all and the other people don't, but that GM can then interact with the game. That's the difference between those games and Nyctophobia. Nyctophobia has a GM that is in the game with you and is guiding your experience, but is also out to kill you. We've had some really, it's really incredible, some of the experiences that people have come to us with, and what we've seen even at loud shows like at conventions, things like that. I know we had a really amazing Charlie Teal from Geek and Sundry gave this probably one of the coolest reviews I've ever seen. He did this very narrative review. He called it his scariest game he's ever played, and he explained it in this big story about how frightened he was during this game. It is polarizing because it's got a very specific feel to it. But on a demo table, this game looks incredible, and it's got the wow factor. I mentioned that with Illusion. People look at it and they say, "Oh, what's that?" They look at this and they say, "What in the world am I looking at?" Because you have sunglasses laying out there. You've got a 3D map on the board. One thing that you get a lot is that people will pick up these blackout glasses. Because you'll tell them they're blackout glasses, and then they'll be like, they'll give you a little, okay, sure, and they'll put them on and be like, oh wait, no, these actually work. they don't believe you that these are blackout glasses or something. So it's got the table presence. It just pretty much needs the guidance after that. So with Nyctophobia, a couple of the big selling points, obviously, being the guided experience, the experiential gameplay. You definitely want people to know that this is going to be, you want to give them the air of it's frightening, it's scary, without it being too like over the top. You know, some people aren't going to be scared by this game, but a lot of people do get an actual sense of tension from this game in a strong way. Like we've been playing it a lot. We obviously had it at Essen. It was super popular there. Unfortunately, we did not have the rights to sell we didn't have the English copies to sell there. We didn't have the international rights for it there. They were selling it at a different booth. So we had a demo that people were just immediately wanting to buy, and we could not sell them, unfortunately. But hopefully that won't be the case now that we got the new stock coming in, and you guys will be able to do the demo and then immediately be able to turn it around, hopefully into a sale there. In the same way that this is with Illusion, we tried to make it where color blindness doesn't affect the game. Obviously, blindness does not affect this game. You couldn't be the hunter necessarily, but you can be one of the hunted and play just fine if you're visually impaired. There's no disadvantage for you at all. And that's kind of a big point for us. Obviously, it's not necessarily capturing a huge chunk of a market there, but giving that story, like making that the story of the game, also gives it a bit of a hook to just normal buyers who are looking for things that might be accessible for people with visual impairness, or just in general who are looking for more accessible games in general, or try to support those, because that tends to have become a trend for us recently, where people are looking for more inclusive gaming experiences, and that's what this is.
Hunter, can you talk a little bit to the point of if I was a blind person and I wanted to play this game, like how does someone interact with all of that we're looking at on the table there? Because as someone who can see, looks like there's a lot going on the board. And if I can't see, how do I know all that's going on, other than the obvious of touching and feeling the board? But how does that work a little bit?
So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to get my camera here and kind of show you an actual board that I have set up here, so you can kind of get an idea. It's a little bit easier if I actually use my hands to move these things around here. You can ignore that stuff there. So we got a board set up here, if you guys don't mind me having a little minor shaky cam. So the way it works is, pretending I have the blackout glasses on, the hunter every round is going to actually take your hand and guide your hand over your playing piece. So we've got a few different pieces here. We've got these pieces with notches on them. We've got the smooth piece here, and we've got obviously these forests. So these pieces here are the forest maze itself. These pieces are kind of what you're feeling for, being around you. These are player pieces. So when I'm actually touching this, before the game starts, the hunter will give you this piece and kind of let you feel it while you have your blackout glass on. Let you feel it, see what the piece feels like, see how it feels when you're actually touching it, and then they put it back at the board for you, so you kind of know what player piece you are. And then every turn, they're going to guide your hand into that piece. You're going to feel it and feel around it. So what you can do in the game is, on your turn, you're pretty much searching, which is just feeling the spaces orthogonally around you. So you don't get to feel a ton of the board. You're feeling right around your piece. And you can kind of communicate with your friends, like, okay, I've got a tree to the – you have cards around that'll indicate north, south, east, and west. But like, okay, I've got a tree to the south of me, north of me is open, east of me is open, west of me is open. I'm going to move one space. And then you can feel around you again, kind of do another search there, do another move. Same process, essentially. You're feeling around, but you're really only feeling directly around that piece. You're not actually getting to come out here and feel the whole board. So, and the cool thing is, when you don't actually see this maze before you put your glasses on. You'll actually put the glasses on, and then there's some pre-made mazes in the book itself. So then the hunter goes through and makes a quick little maze here and sets it up. So you don't actually see what's around you before the game starts. You don't even see where your piece is. You kind of have to determine that. Sometimes people start on the edge, and that helps them out a lot. They'll be like, okay, I'm on the edge of the board. They know they would know that they're on the south edge of the board potentially, so they might be able to be like, okay, I'm on the south edge of the board, and I'm on the west edge of the board, or something like that. So that's helpful. But generally, you don't know what you're seeing. You don't know. You don't get to see this maze until the very end. You're looking to get to the car piece, which is this little double piece here. And the point of the game is, you're starting in different areas. You're trying to get to the car piece before this killer catches you and kills you. And it's very easy for the killer to get you. You do have some ways to defend yourself. You can throw a rock at the killer. You can also use a rock to defend yourself. And you kind of use it to make them chase noises around, which is useful as well. But the general idea is that you don't get to see a lot of this. And that actually creates a really cool moment at the end, the kind of aha moment, where once either you've won the game or once the killer's killed you, which is usually more likely. The killer definitely has an advantage in this game, That's why we try to focus on the experiential gameplay. It's kind of like beating a dungeon master to a degree. So if they kill you, you kind of have that moment at the end where everyone takes their glasses off and they're like, oh, I get it. This is where I was. This is where that quarter was. Oh, I walked all the way back here. I'm an idiot. You kind of have that moment where people are kind of examining what they screwed up at the very end of the game. Occasionally, it's not impossible to win, of course. It's just a little bit easier for the hunter because you only have to kill one of the hunted to win. So it's kind of easier for them to catch up because it only takes 2 hits for them to kill a hunted. So that creates the tension, though. That's part of the thing. It is easier for the hunter, but that creates tension for the people that are wearing the glasses. If they didn't have the tension, they would probably just fall asleep with the glasses on. So that's the board there. That's most of the components you get, most of the cool components at least. Sorry about that. Let me get that back up here. There we go. And then the rest of it's all cardstock components, things that are like, there we go. Sorry, that are doing keeping track of life totals, the east, west, north, south player cards. There are also some powers you can give players that give them different abilities. The cool thing with the blackout glasses is that even though they can't see out of the front, you can kind of peek underneath it if they have like a card underneath them that they want to reference or something along those lines, or they need to check where their life totals are. It's not impossible, obviously. You don't want them taking their glasses off if at all possible. But yeah, on like I said, really pops on a table. Now that you've kind of seen those components, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It has a very 3D effect to it.
It's definitely an experience game. I think you nailed it right on the head with that. The first time that we played it, the very first thing, just to be as transparent as possible, the very first thing I thought was, this is a gimmick, right? Like it's not going to be that fun of an experience. It's just going to be a one-time thing. But we did lose. The hunter caught us, and the minute that happened, everyone took their glasses off, and they were like, oh, okay, do this again, right? It was like immediately like we wanted to jump right back into it too. And that was the nice thing, is that it didn't take too long to play a game. I think it took us maybe at most maybe 20 minutes, if that.
Yes.
And that was with learning and kind of figuring out the steps, so to speak. But that was a very cool experience to be able to, play multiple times over and over again, have it be completely different experience, being the hunter, being the hunted, and having fun with it.
Yeah, and to that point, usually the games only go long if the hunted players are doing really, really well. For demo purposes, you can usually set it up a lot closer to the players, like the hunter, a lot closer to the players, because it indicates like you can get into combat and kind of give them an example of how that works. It doesn't have to take a ton to get people to understand why this game is cool. The glasses and the feeling the pieces, usually just a couple turns of that get people. They either know if they're going to like it or not, or they kind of have an idea. Because some people, they don't like being the hunted, but they might like being the hunter a lot. Some people do not like being the hunter and really just want to wear the glasses and be that side and kind of feel that tension. So there's that as well.
I have to admit, too, the glasses were actually pretty darn good quality. When we first picked them up, we were like, we looked at it, and I thought it was going to be like cheapy, like, $1 movie glasses you get when you go to the 3D movie theater. But they are actually pretty quality glasses in terms of like, wear and tear.
Yeah, they've stood up. This one actually went through. This is my personal copy. So when I went to Essen, I took my own copies because I wasn't sure if we were going to get our copies in time. And thankfully, I took it because we did not get our copies in time. And these things are held out. I mean, this has been through now hundreds and hundreds of demos for me. And these glasses are awesome. Yeah, they're you might want to wipe them occasionally, but it's not like people are looking through them, so it's not that big a deal. But yeah, they stood up really well to the convention. They haven't had any issues. Like I said, it's the first thing people grab for. They want. Right. They're like they have this like. They're like, no, these definitely won't work, and they absolutely work. They work really, really well, and they're always like, okay, wow, that's what they're intended to do. They're supposed to make you blind, so it always works out there. It's just
very
funny.
Cool. We did have a question. This is more of a general question for us at GTS than anything else. But Dawn had asked about if we have a demo program. And while we had talked about the demos available to retailers for participating today for Illusion, GTS does have a demo program with participating publishers. Basically what we do is we allow retailers to buy one copy of a game per storefront per year for 25% of MSRP. That's something that we work out with specific publishers. We have a list of that. If it's something that you ever have any questions on, you can contact your sales rep. You can contact me. We can help you get set up with any of that. But a very, very high amount of our publisher partners will participate in that and offer that as well. So
awesome. Yeah,
cool.
Great. So, and like I said, this is going to be restocked very, very shortly. We're really looking forward to that. The tooling takes a little bit longer on all the plastic pieces, so it was a little bit delayed. But it's been on the boat now, so it should be here very shortly.
And what's the MSRP of Nyctophobia again?
This was $39.95.
Yeah, that's really good price for all the components and everything that you get with that, which is really cool.
Yeah, we're trying to stay a lot in that range right now. I mean, like I said, you've probably seen a lot of our games like in that 60 to 90 price range, other than like Machikoro. But we're definitely trying to broaden the scope of the line, so we're having a little bit more in every price point, so everyone has something that they can sell from Pandasaurus for us.
Cool.
So that's the
now,
goal.
a lot of people have seen Pandasaurus kind of in press and in the news over the last year, probably mostly about Dinosaur Island. Because it's obviously done so extremely well and successful for you guys. It's one of my favorite resource management games. I hesitate to call it a worker placement game because there's so many different things happening in the game with the DNA dice and the dino pads that you have to create and stuff like that. But it is one of my favorite resource management games right now. It's really fun. I know you got a lot going on about that right now. I wanted to take some time to talk about that. If anyone does have questions about Nyctophobia, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We can hop back to it. But I think, Hunter, you wanted to talk a little bit about maybe like Dualosaur and some Totally Liquid and some of the things going on with the end of the year in Dinosaur Island.
Sure, yeah. Just stop me if I'm talking too much, guys, if you have any questions, like Scott said. But yeah, so Dinosaur Island, thank you, Scott, for all those words. That's great to hear. Dinosaur Island has been an enormous success for us in 2018. We are extremely excited to get another printing out to retailers, which we're hoping lands very shortly. It's actually been waiting for us, so we're kind of waiting at this point for our Kickstarter backers to get their copies. We definitely wanted to make sure that they were getting their copies before we're selling it generally to the public. So that's one catch, but right now it's looking very good that we're getting it all delivered this month. So we're really excited about that. And we got another printing in stock. And like Scott says, this is an in-depth game. We got a little I voted sticker on it for my picture, but we got a Dinosaur Island here. Let me pull up my deck and share that again. There we go. Like Scott said, it is a worker placement, but it's got a lot more going on than just worker placement. I consider it like a box of different mini games going on at the same time. You've got every board has its own game going on. So it is in depth. I will say it is in depth, but this game is a demo table hog, and it looks beautiful. It's so bright and pops that you immediately just get questions about the pink dinosaurs combined with the bright greens, the amber dice. It just screams buy me on a table, and it's just worked super well for us over the course of this year. And with this reprint, we've got a couple of new items coming out that we're really excited for. Let me skip past all the accolades and awards here to Totally Liquid. So Totally Liquid, the box I have here is the Extreme Edition, but it's the same concept. So Totally Liquid, I will pull this up in a second again, but we've got a brand new expansion. This adds a 5th player. This is kind of what we call the fan favorites expansion. This is a lot of stuff that fans have wanted from not necessarily the base game, but just some things that they come up through the initial campaign, through people playing it for about a year, things that they were looking forward to. So 5th player obviously is the kind of the staple of expansions, adding that extra player. But then we've got a lot of new things like blueprints, which blueprint cards change the way you build your park. People wanted their park building to matter a lot more, so this gives you scoring ability for where you place things in your park and what you're actually buying. It gives you new meeples with executives, so you get a new ability to change, like to enhance your buildings and enhance your features. Also gives you new parks. These cardboard pieces on the screen here in the bottom left-hand corner. Those are actually new areas of the park that you can build and have at the start of the game. So more places to place your workers and do different cool stuff. There's more of lots of things. So you got more plot twists, more PR moves, things like that. And then of course you have the name of the game, Totally Liquid. You get marine creatures. So you get an entirely new dinosaur type. Dinosaurs are the name of the game. People are there for the pink dinos. They're there for what you can build in your park, and that's what this adds essentially. I mean, you can add a lot of the other stuff, but you get Plesiosaurus, Mosasaurus, all the big marine creatures that people are looking for. And that'll be $39.95. That'll be hitting warehouses the exact same time as Dinosaur Island. And in addition to both of those, we've got one more here, and this is Dualosaur Island. There we go. Dualosaur Island, which flew a little bit under the radar, I think, for a lot of people. It was on our Kickstarter campaign as a kind of an add-in, but a lot of people actually did take advantage of Dualosaur Island during the campaign. And what we're finding now is a lot of them are regretting it as people are playing it and reviewing it. We had a this was our first time essentially getting out in the wild for people to play and demo and buy, or at least buy a couple early copies of. We didn't actually have a ton of it there, unfortunately. But the initial reaction has been amazing for us. So this was designed by Ian Moss. This is not John Gilmore, but he did do the development on it. And this was designed from the ground up as a two-player experience. It replaces a lot of the fiddliness and massiveness of Dinosaur Island with a card drafting and dice drafting mechanic. That center board there with the dice on it, you're essentially drafting cards, the actual cards to build your park. You're drafting dice to get your DNA and get your income, and you're drafting specialists that kind of give you special powers. The difference in this game, and one of my favorite twists on the original game, are that the cards are double-sided, so you're using the top half as dinosaurs and the bottom half is the attractions of your park. And what you're doing is you have to decide if you want to use it as an attraction to kind of increase your economy, or if you want to use it as a dinosaur and actually score points. So it gives you an actual choice there that you're having to really kind of think about there. So this one is coming out, again, the same time, $34.95, so it's a lot cheaper price point. That's another thing with Dinosaur Island, you're sitting at a higher price point. Sometimes people aren't ready to pull the trigger on a game that they haven't played that's that expensive, but they're really intrigued by the dinosaurs. Dualosaur is the answer for that. It is a cheaper price point. It's two players. That's another spot where we really wanted to fill the gap, because Dinosaur Island can be played with two, but a lot of people are looking for that dedicated two-player experience right now. You've got a ton of bigger Euro-y games that are going with smaller two-player experiences, Seven Wonders Duel, Agricola, Caverna. They have all got those two-player variants. That's kind of what this is. It's still got a lot of the cool components. It doesn't have the pink dinosaurs, but you do have great art on all the cards. Plus, you have the amber dice. And the cool thing with Totally Liquid and with Dualosaur here is those amber dice that they come with. Obviously, Totally Liquid is meant to mix with the base game. Dualosaur also, you can mix those amber dice in with the base game. So it's not an expansion for Dinosaur Island, but it is definitely a way to position it where it can actually expand the original game. So for people that are maybe looking for that cheaper price point Dinosaur Island, it's got a benefit there. For people that are completionists and they just want that whole Dinosaur Island line, it's kind of a must-buy for them, because then they'll be missing dice if they don't have it. So those will be $39.95 for Totally Liquid coming out. Dualosaur is going to be retailing for $34.95, so $35. Sorry, I'm shaking there a little bit.
No, that's awesome. Jamie just made a comment. I love Dinosaur Island, but I'm really looking forward to Dualosaur to play at home where I can only have two players. This should be an easy snag for gaming couples. That is very true, because that's on my Christmas list for my wife and I, and a lot more portable and smaller footprint too. Yeah, that's definitely a good way to compare it.
Yes, I've loved the way this is played. I had only gotten to play it right before SN. I like Scott mentioned, I'm a little bit newer, so I'm kind of catching up on all the upcoming releases. I played it right before Essen so I could teach my volunteers. I couldn't stop playing. Like, every time I had to take over a demo table during the convention, I was like, can I play a Dualosaur? Can I sit on that one? Because I just want to play that more. So.
The advantage of working for a game company, right?
Exactly. So that was a blast. Like I said, this is one that we're really excited for. I think it kind of sits in a very specific part of Dinosaur Island's line. It's got the cheaper price point, which is very important for us. I wouldn't say it's a stocking stuffer. It's a little too thick for that. But it's a great gift one for this holiday. We're really excited about that.
That's awesome. Now, you also have somebody else kind of brand new to Pandasaurus. I don't know if you are prepared or if you want to talk a little bit about that, but this would probably be good information for retailers to know, just in terms of his history, what he's done, and kind of what Pandasaurus is investing in moving forward.
Yeah, so John Gilmore has joined the team. That was one of our big announcements over the Halloween time, I guess. And it's been a while for us to announce it. He's been working with us pretty closely for a while now. If you know John Gilmore, he's kind of a renowned game designer. He's done Dinosaur Island. He did Dead of Winter with Isaac Vega. He's done Wasteland Express Delivery Service. He's just done hit games. And the goal of working with John right now is essentially he's going to be developing everything we do. John's got an amazing group of testers. He's got an amazing stringent way that he tests games, and he's been putting all of pretty much everything that we've developed in 2018, then going forward, all these games plus the things coming out in 2019, he's putting them through the ringer right now So these are going to be tight experiences, fun experiences. We're essentially trying to make games that are appealing to any demographic. Not every game is appealing to every demographic, but we want games in our lineup that are appealing to any demographic. And John is going to help us do that by making them all fun. Essentially, he's there to make games good and fun, and that's what he's doing for us. He's already shown that he can do that with any of our titles. He's an amazing designer. We did another announcement on Halloween for Dead Man's Cabal. That one we were excited for. That was a huge project for him. He's been working on. We've have a ton more in 2019 that we're announcing very soon, and those are going to be huge. But he's been developing all these games. He's been amazing for us. He's been the staple. He's a rock star. He really is. He's like I know people make the comparison. I'm making this comparison because he's made it of himself before, but he's our little Eric Lang essentially, and that's pretty much what we're I know I don't want to diminish it at all. He's an amazing designer, and we're very, very fortunate to be able to get him doing what he wants to do, which is develop games, make games. And this doesn't mean he's going to stop making games. He's going to be developing everything for us. He's like literally everything that walks through our door goes through John Gilmore now, which is extremely cool to be able to say. But in addition to that, he'll be designing a few games a year as well. And if there's anything in his backlog that he was designing before, that it's not like canceled or anything like that. That stuff's just grandfathered. He'll be finishing that stuff up too, just in case anyone had that question.
No, I think it's great to see. I think in as wild and crazy of a market as board games can be at times, seeing publishers that are willing to invest in consistency is a good thing. And I think from a retailer level, that's probably one of the things that is good for them to know about, is that, you are, taking a measured approach to what you're bringing out. You have a focus, like you talked about, in terms of the price point and the approachability of the games. And you have consistency from a developer that has a proven track record as well, which is all very good and strong positive things. I know I always make the comment that my retirement plan one day is to start my own retail store when I'm like 65 years old and, not have a worry in life. But that's one of the things that I look for is, a publisher that has consistency, because content is king, but consistency is queen. So you can make all the games in the world, but if they're not good and they don't have a good backbone, they're not gonna help people in the marketplace. So that's great to see, and it's great to hear. So
yeah, we're really excited. Like I said, we learned a lot from our releases before, like the pre-2018 releases. Some really standout titles that could have been a lot more if they'd had a little bit more time under the hood with John or someone of that ilk. So we're really excited about what he's bringing to the table. And that's not to say it's going to be more of the same. He's got, like, John has extremely diverse tastes. There'll be consistency, but there's also going to be a lot of diversity with what we're bringing out. So that, like, if you want the mid-range Euros, if you want the lighter Euros, if you want the card games, if you want those big games that have the crazy components like Wasteland Express, we've got plans for all that stuff coming forward. So really excited about the future with John.
Awesome. Well, there's no additional questions on the chat right now. So with that, we should probably go ahead and wrap up. But just so everyone knows, if you do have any questions, let us know. You can reach me at GTS. It's smorris@gtsdistribution.com. Hunter, if people want to learn more about Pandasaurus, or if they want to contact anyone at the company, what's the best ways to reach out and find you guys on the interwebs?
So pandasaurusgames.com is just our main website. And then we've got, you can reach out to a couple emails. Support@pandasaurusgames.com is one good way, but you guys can reach me directly at hunter@pandasaurusgames.com. And I'm handling a lot of our marketing outreach, things like that. And if it needs to go to Molly or Nathan, I can get that there too. So whatever you have, just hit me up. And I'm, like I said, I love your feedback. We're trying to do more we're just generally trying to do more for retailers, trying to do what is in everyone's best interest. So any feedback you guys have, I'd love to hear it.
Cool. Awesome. There was a last question here. When will Dual Sword be in the system to order? That is a great question. As of this morning, we actually contacted Molly and Nathan, the owners of Pandasaurus, to let them know that we needed to get the solicitation information set up for that. So it should be hopefully before the end of this week, if not before the end of the day, depending on how quickly they can get back to us and get everything set up for it. So it should be pretty quick on that.
Should be really quick.
Cool. With that, I would like to say a special thank you to all the retailers who have joined us. I really do appreciate it. We've been doing these now for about maybe, this is the fourth one we've done. We're going to continue to do them. We have a lot lined up between now and the rest of the year. The next one is going to be North Star Games, which is next week on the 12th. From that, I think we only have maybe 1 or 2 weeks between now and the end of the year where we don't have a webinar happening on Monday, which is really good. So the demand both from the retail side and from the publisher side has been pretty high. Feedback's been very good. Of course, we always kind of approach these things as be good today and get better tomorrow. So if anyone does have any feedback that you want to share with us, please let us know. But thank you very much for taking the time. I know it's a busy life being a retailer and trying to handle and juggle all the things that you do. So really do appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with us here and ask some questions and learn some stuff about Pandasaurus. Hunter, thank you very much for taking the time as well. Give our best to Nathan and Molly, of course. They're off doing all the fun stuff. But thank you for taking the time. We'll go ahead and get this put up in recording, so we'll have it up on YouTube later today. And other than that, thank you all for joining and have a wonderful week.
Thank you.